on the show now. You just said that he doesn't matter.
No, that's true.
If you're ever gonna get him on the show,
hey! I don't think they know who we're talking about yet because I hit live after we mentioned his name.
Well, here's the thing.
He still might come on the show.
That's because we're supposed to go in, like hot. It's no, but it's supposed to be candid, right? Like it's
candid
not like
camera.
Guys, we're gonna go live in 5, 4, 3. No, that's what we do. We go live while somebody's in the middle of an incendiary statement or out of the room or.
You say his name now, and no one will still know who we're talking about.
And I love
him. Why don't you try and pronounce it, Shane? I dare you to pronounce it.
Daryl Williams.
That wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. Like I've heard worse from Shane.
Oompa Loompa Gawale.
I really do wish there was a football player named Oompa Loompa, because how fun would that be? Oompa Loompa is hauling down the field. Oompa Loompa breaks it for 80.
There was
You can
one.
always change your player name to Oompa Loompa on Madden.
Oh, rest in peace, Madden.
Actually,
man.
Is there a worse class of people than the people who decided to log in and make anti-John Madden takes? Like there was
I didn't even see those, and thank God I didn't, because I would have got
there was the one take that said that Madden contributed to a slavery-like relationship with black people. And there was another one that blamed John Madden for glorifying violence through the video game.
Well, you know what he glorified? He glorified ambulance running people over. Because a couple people tweeted out last night showing it in the old Maddens when the ambulance would come on the field. It would just truck through everyone.
What's your favorite Madden game? What year?
I don't even know the years.
2000 with the blue cartridge.
Okay,
I like the one with
This
Vic
is a great way
cover.
to date people here. So you like
Vic on the cover. The Vic year, whatever year that was.
Was that 2007?
No, 2007 was Sean Alexander.
No, I didn't like Sean Alexander at all because he's overrated.
2004? No, 2004 was that was 2000.
Might have been 2004. I started playing Madden in 2005.
Was Eddie George 2001? That was Ray Lewis.
Yeah. No, you know what one was a really good one? When they had the Outkast song on there. When they had it's for no particular reason, all of a sudden there was a Madden theme album, like an what do you call that? Official
soundtrack?
Soundtrack, yeah. They had a soundtrack, like an official movie soundtrack, and it had the Outkast song, and it had Good Charlotte and some other songs. I was like, this makes awesome. No sense. All right.
I grew up on Madden 07, which
that was the first one. That was the first one that had music.
For all the reasons, because A, it had music, and B, when you did the NFL Superstar thing, which I don't even know what it's called now, whatever, but when you become a player, they had all sorts of cool lodging spaces that you went through. So first you had a little shady apartment, and then you had a loft, then you had a house, you had a mansion and stuff, and I thought that was dope. And I had my player was called New Player. My first player that I ever created was called New Player.
I think that was all of our first players.
And I tried to be this big bruising running back. The Vikings tried to convert me to a fullback, so I demanded a trade because I didn't think I was being used properly in their scheme. And so then they traded me to the New England Patriots. And in the first game of the year, and this happened directly, I think the same season that this actually happened, but Tom Brady tore his ACL in the first game. And so I had to play with the whole season with Todd Collins as the quarterback. And this is my first time playing through Madden. And I was so psyched up. And so I got through all these games. He won the Super Bowl. I was like, oh my God, we made it through without Brady. And that was the only time I've ever rooted for a Patriots team my entire life.
And that's what you're getting to.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Go ahead.
Madden's the reason half of us play Dynasty football because we
that's what I was just
about
to say.
We all love franchise mode.
We wanted franchise mode. We were like, these games are boring as shit. You'd win 56-0 on average, win it your 8th Super Bowl in a row, and you're like, all right, let me rebuild this roster because that was what was fun, and that's what we wanted.
My buddy and I, two of my buddies, I will probably get together this weekend actually for the finals because they're both playing each other. And literally the thing that we'll do is we'll either do it on Madden or we'll do it on NBA, and we'll just do a freaking simulation draft. And then we'll do 3 years of simulations, and we have a scoring system of who can get the better record, who can win the Super Bowl or the NBA championship, whatever. And we don't even play a freaking game, and we're just doing sims because we're the same kind of nerds that would start a fantasy podcast. So I love it. Rest in peace, John Madden. You're an absolute legend.
All right, let's kick that off. Good stopping point.
Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Shane Manila, Jakob Sanderson, and Chase Vernon.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Fantasy Intervention. We have another show coming at y'all. Of course, this is our last Wednesday show. It's our last Wednesday show before we actually get into Dynasty Intervention. And I'm sitting here trying to fix my...
It's crazy how similar the shows are.
Wait, this isn't Dynasty Intervention yet?
No, this is Fantasy. We have a freaking group chat, Shane, and it says Fantasy, Dynasty Intervention, and you created the name for it.
True. Okay, good point.
Now, I'm very excited.
Are we ever going to have playoff intervention?
I mean, what are we going to talk about?
Well, it's just, I feel like playoff intervention is just going to be me and Chase talking about how to make DFS decisions on really small slates and being total degenerates on Tuesdays.
That sounds about right.
Shane, you can come and be a DFS thought leader if you want.
Sure, I'll try.
Ball is life, and Phil Syllaby says, y'all are so handsome. Thank you so much.
I agree. Except for Shane, but I agree.
Except for Shane.
All right, so we have a show.
Chat tonight. Look at that. There we go.
Gosh, I'm excited.
Formerly known, the artist formerly known as Husker.
We got Robert in the chat as well. Joshua, I see your question. We will get all those lined up. But first, let's go ahead and start off with last week. And I mean, I was sitting there. I was closing in on Jacob. I was 1 point behind.
Sitting there looking at it.
I was right behind you, Jacob.
Take a look at it.
And then
I'm right
all
behind
of a sudden,
someone.
You blew the fucking doors off, man. You crushed it this week. I was very bad overall. I only won the quarterback position. That's only because your quarterback did not play.
No,
you finished off picking Michelle, AJ Brown, and Evan Ingram, getting 6 points, and now leading total by 5.
I mean, I won tight end with Evan Ingram getting 6 points.
I have Evan Ingram with 11.7.
He had 11.7 points.
I know he got a touchdown.
He got a touchdown?
I think so.
Oh, good for him. That's awesome. I'm proud of that.
Pretty sure he did.
I believe you.
Maybe he did.
He doesn't
I don't even
get
know.
Those.
No, he really doesn't, but it was up against Philadelphia. So
you can see how many teams with Evan Ingram I have in the playoffs.
None?
Because I didn't know that he scored a touchdown.
All right, so let's go ahead and start off with one of these questions real quick. Let's kick this one off. We have Joshua coming out, and he said, which 3 would you start? Hunter Renfrow, Cordell Patterson, Rashad Penny, Williams, Chase Edmonds, if Connor's out, of course. And honestly, I like Chase Edmonds even if Connor isn't out. Yeah, I mean, but if we had to sit here and pick 3 of these guys, obviously Cordell Patterson's been struggling out. I can't trust him. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that one out. Is there any obvious pick for you guys that you absolutely do not want in your lineup?
Oh, that I don't want in my lineup?
That you do not want in your lineup?
I'm not putting Cordell in, and I'm not putting Edmonds in. So, and I don't think it's obvious, but I can't turn away from.
If Connor's out, you would put Edmonds in, right? Like you.
Yeah.
Number 1, I think.
Yeah. But Rashad Penny and Daryl Williams are pretty much auto starts for me.
What a week. People say Zero RB is dead.
Zero RB came back and just slapped everyone in the face with its dick this year. It was like, oh yeah, right on your forehead, bitch.
I think Daryl Williams is like the GOAT start this week. I'm gonna do my hot takes again tomorrow because I was hit on most of them last week. And Daryl Williams, I see he is ranked inside the top 20, so I can't pick him. But I'm going to pick Daryl Williams to like a top 5 running back this week. I think he's absolutely locked and loaded. He crushes in the receiving game. He's basically Christian McCaffrey whenever CEH is out. CEH is actually the only Chiefs running back who sucks when they give him touches. Every other running back that they give touches to magically turns into 2006 Sean Alexander. But yeah, I think you're playing Daryl. I think you're playing Renfrow, especially because the Colts tend to give up yardage over the middle. They play that cover 2 scheme. And then, Penny against the Lions. I think you got to play.
Oh, my God. I was gonna say Hunter Renfrow is not a lock for me because Waller's coming back, and I just saw the news.
No, he's on IR.
Waller on the COVID list.
He's done for the year.
He's done for the year.
Reserve.
He's done.
No way.
He's finished.
Yeah, him and Thielen both IR.
What? I thought he was expected to play. What did I miss?
Well, until today happened, yes.
Yeah.
He's got the vid.
Oh, my God.
Well, luckily,
man, that's tough. I never even
all
saw
of my
IR
Waller teams were eliminated last week or the week before. There's nothing harder to replace, I think, in a dynasty league than when you have an elite tight end and you lose an elite tight end. Like, you can find a Daryl Williams, right? Especially if you have no trade deadlines. Like, you go to your manager and say, hey, you're out of the playoffs. You have Daryl Williams. Okay, can you give me Daryl Williams for a third and a firm handshake? But you lose Darren Waller. Now you're starting
and I think part of that is you probably haven't grown that organically because tight end is so hard to find. Like it's not like where you can hit on a Justin Jefferson at 111 2 years ago, even though he's the best wide receiver in the league right now, even though his cumulative ADP was like 110. You were able to hit on him. You just really can't do that at tight end too often.
The worst part too is I feel like whenever I have that guy, like the teams where I have a Waller or Kelsey or whatever, like especially if I took them in the startup, I just kind of stop worrying about tight end because I'm like, oh, well, that's my guy. So I don't make it a priority. Whereas, on the teams where I don't have an elite tight end, I'm constantly thinking like, man, how can I find some tight end, whether that be scanning the waiver wire or, working it into trade negotiations. Oh, hey, throw me David Njoku. Hey, throw me this guy, right? So I find like I'm more likely to get like a Dawson Knox or a Dalton Schultz to show up on my roster if I don't already have that elite guy locked in because I'm trying more. You just got to try harder in general. But
all right, so I'm going to take Rashad Penny, Daryl Williams, and Hunter Renfrow if that's the case. But if Connor doesn't play, I'm fading Renfrow, and I'm going to go with Daryl Williams, Penny, and Edmonds.
I like that.
That's my route. All right, let's scoot one more question real quick, and then we'll hop on to the next segment. Robert Stories has two questions he wants to ask us. Congratulations on making it the title game. Make sure, by the way, that when you win that title, you go and you pick up a trophy from Trophy Smack, right?
Yeah.
Where you can actually go and get this championship belt and get your team engraved. And it goes like right here, and it's really, really sick. Now, but go check out TrophySmack.com. If you purchase a trophy or a belt, you can actually get a championship ring for free. Just use promo code CIRCLE. Once again, that's promo code CIRCLE. Where would you wear your
championship ring?
Dude, I'd wear it everywhere.
Weddings.
Like, screw everyone. Oh, that's phenomenal. Dude, you know how many girls you could get at a wedding?
Yeah.
Just by rocking your championship ring?
Zero.
Oh, my. Dude,
Zero. If you go up to women and you say, hey, would you look at my fantasy football championship ring? It would be like a repellent ring. You would get more girls.
I completely disagree.
You would get more girls at a wedding if your opening line was, I have Omicron, than if you showed them your fantasy football championship ring.
I completely disagree. And you know how many dudes you would pick up if you're a chick that wore that ring to a wedding?
You'd get all of the dudes. Yeah.
Oh my God. You'd be clawing them off. You'd be kicking them off, everything, trying to get rid of them. Now, but go check it out over there, TrophySmack.com. Use promo code RING. You get a free $60 championship ring along with the purchase of a belt or a trophy. Go check it out, TrophySmack.com. All right. Let's go ahead real quick. Robert, you said you had two questions, but I don't see either one of the questions up there. So we're going to go ahead and hop onto this next segment where I want to talk about how the DOSE score crushed. No, I don't even need to, because if you guys go to fantasyintervention.com/DOCE, you can find pass catching running backs. We're going to be improving this tremendously over the offseason. I have plans to add in a feature which gives you a recency bias towards the pass catching running backs. So, for example, the Lions haven't allowed a single pass catching running back to get double-digit points over the past 5 weeks. They figured something out, and it's kind of crazy. I want to talk about that in a second. But meanwhile, you go and you try and play Cordell Patterson, who's also been struggling. That's a cold matchup on both ends. That's not a matchup that you actually want to roll out and you want to go with the DOSE score. So we will be applying that along with multiple other additions to the DOSE score that I'm very excited about for 2022. Make sure y'all go check it out, fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. But while I'm here, I want to go into some news updates, and I want to start out with the Lions. This isn't necessarily a news update, but since I'm here, I might as well discuss it. We have a team. I've never seen a team like this where they don't have a rookie quarterback, right? They have a seasoned veteran who's been part of
seasoned. He's more just like a bland veteran.
A bland veteran, yeah. He's not seasoned at all. He's completely bland.
Big time has not touched Jared Goff with his sweet seasonings.
But over the past few weeks, right, this Lions team has been in games, and it seems like they're actually progressively getting better while losing players.
Yeah, it's all the kneecaps, because each time that they lose a player, they get to absorb their kneecaps. We discussed this in the summer on our previous show, Dynasty Intervention, where, about this illegal knee harvesting operation. And I think it's finally starting to bear fruit.
I remember this very vividly, actually, because you went on with it for like 10 minutes talking about harvesting kneecaps and stealing souls, essentially. But no, I mean, in all reality, have you guys ever seen a team lose as many players as the Lions have that are critical to their success, but still improve, not only on defense, but somewhat on offense as well? They are getting better under Dan Campbell. And I strongly believe that. Do you guys disagree, agree? Have you ever seen a team like this? What's your take on this?
I think that most teams don't really give a shit going up against them, to be quite honest with you. It's human nature to just not even really put in that much effort when you're playing this stupid little kid. You know what I mean? That's like the rest of the league, 6'4", playing basketball, and the Lions are 5'2". Oh, they're fun, they're spunky, but I read literally nothing into it. Good for him. Good coaching. I'll say that. Yeah. At least they're still trying. They're trying hard. So I guess that's important.
They're not
Jacksonville. I think it's real. I think what's most important is that they're 10-5 against the spread.
That's most important. Yes.
Dan Campbell's the GOAT, man. Dan Campbell is a covering god, and his team tries hard. They always cover the number. He knew against Atlanta. He knew. You know what? This line on game day was 7.5. But for people that had faith in us early, for people who bet 4.5 when the line opened, we can't go for it near the end of the game. We have to take the points. We have to make it 20-16. We have to make sure we cover for the people who believed in us 6 days before the game started. That's the kind of coach that they have. They have action on their own games. Dan goes to his team and he says, hey, here's what the line is. And each of these players, right, they get a little bit of the cut. He learned it. He was in New Orleans, right, where they had Bounty Gate. And here they don't have Bounty Gate. They're not trying to kill people. They're just trying to make a buck. And so all these players, Craig Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're all betting the Lions spread. And that's why they're trying so hard till the end of games. They're rich now. This is their contract bonus.
Not even does line spread just sound, or what is it? No, I'm sorry. Spread gate sound just completely wrong. It also is completely
spread nice and wide.
Pornographic. Yeah. It's kind of pornographic.
It's a little bit pornographic. I'm just saying, not only that, but it's also, complete contrarian to what a gate actually you want it to do, essentially. So it is the spread gate.
Just spread open.
Sure, we'll go with that. All right, let's hop on to the actual news. And Trey Lance could be starting this week. Jimmy Garoppolo, he seems fine. They're saying that he's going to play. You saw him at the post conference, right? You saw him at the post-game conference. He opened a water bottle with his thumb. So he should be good to go. At least that's what all the injury experts are saying.
Is this you doing Alex Jones with the jar of pickles?
No, I'm telling you, it looked very difficult, but he didn't.
Pickle jar. You pop it. You pop it.
Don't
act like you haven't seen that info.
I actually haven't.
Come on.
I actually haven't, but I'll check it out after the show. No, he twisted the bottle. He gripped with his thumb, twisted the bottle with a smile on his face the whole time. So I'm pretty sure that he can grip and throw a football at least 60 to 70 yards.
Right? No, he couldn't do that at any time. He's Jimmy
maybe he was grimacing in pain, dude.
Oh, that smile is a grimace.
Oh, maybe it's a grimace.
He just looks that good all the time, even when he's grimacing.
He's a good looking man.
Gorgeous. Yeah,
he's a very good looking man.
He's a lot better looking than he is at playing quarterback.
Yeah, if he was, he'd be the greatest quarterback of all time if he even looked half as good on the football field as he does in real life. Robert put his question up. Oh, we're still talking about Jimmy? No, Jimmy's not playing. He's got a torn UCL. Trey Lance.
What are y'all's thoughts on Trey Lance? Because I think that he's a top 10 quarterback this week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm biased because I love the guy like my own son that I don't have. I just have Trey Lance.
Who's older, you or Lance?
I think I'm older, actually. Yeah, I am. I am by 3 years. But he's just so mature. Anyway, I love Trey Lance this week. He's first of all, he's in one of the only games this week that's not going to be either freezing cold, extremely windy, rainy, or snowy. It's going to be 55 and sunny in California. So that's nice because this week you really have to start considering weather, I think, into your fantasy options.
Yep.
So that's a big plus. He's playing Houston. He gets absolutely gashed on the ground. And I mean, where Trey Lance is going to get you fantasy points primarily is on the ground. So, I mean, I think he's a great play this week. I think even if he only throws for 200 yards and 1 touchdown, that's probably easily going to get you a QB1 week because he's probably going to run for 80 yards, and a score on the ground. They used him a lot on the goal line when he was just playing into packages early in the season, right? When Jimmy was still starting. And then the one time he got the start, I don't know if they're going to do that style of offense again. Apparently his finger that he hurt in the preseason was considered still a bit of an impediment to him throwing the ball. They also didn't have Elijah Mitchell, he had just come back from injury, and they didn't have Jeff Wilson in that game. So they really just used him as their RB1. Maybe they don't run him that much design, but I mean, he's still going to be scrambling a lot. And even in the game against Seattle, where he got into negative game script and he had to run less of that designed rushing offense, I mean, he put up like 20 fantasy points and a half because he was just taking off and scrambling every time his first read wasn't there. So I love Trey Lance for fantasy this week. Great matchup, great weather, and he runs a lot. Give it to me.
All right, I'll take that. I love Trey Lance as well. Shane, what's your take on Trey Lance?
Yeah, I'm expecting him to get at least 10 carries. If I'm getting 10 carries out of a quarterback, he's probably going to be a top 12 quarterback. So I love him this week.
I mean, the best thing, too, is he gets all the benefits that Jimmy G gets of this offense, too, right? I mean, he's going to have receivers that come wide open because they're schemed that way by Shanahan. If he throws an 8-yard slant to Debo, that's always in play to be an 80-yard touchdown that he throws 8 yards of, right? Like, you always get that gift with these yak monsters that they have.
All right, so let's hop on over to the COVID news. 95 or 96 cases reported on Monday. So the NFL goes out and it's like, hey, we're changing the rules halfway through the season. Let's go ahead and let everybody.
Hey, the CDC came down with new regulations. The NFL is respecting the CDC.
And the NFL, you want to hear the NFL's new testing protocol? Ready?
Yeah.
You good? That's it.
Oh, I'm clipping that. 22 minutes and 10 seconds.
The COVID list. What's the over-under on players that will actually miss games due to COVID rest of the season? I'm
0.
putting the over-under at like 0.5.
Yeah, it's 0.
It's kind of ridiculous to an extent, but at the same time, like we are kind of figuring out that it's almost, like a bad cold for people that are in good shape and who take care of themselves.
This variant, look, that's what I was going to say. This variant might be more I don't know what the word is, contagious, but it's definitely not as bad, obviously, as the first dose that we all got hit with. Plus, we're vaccinated, so that's lessening some of the effects. A lot of us are vaccinated. Some of us have boosters, and some of us drink. You guys were talking about Alex Jones earlier. Some of those metal pills that he sells.
Wait, what?
The Alex Jones don't let them take your manhood pills he sells. With an iron or something in them.
Chase, you really haven't studied the alt-right effectively.
I have not.
You're on Facebook. I mean, this is their audience.
I'm on Facebook just for fantasy football discussion. Big shout out to you guys, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Wow. Oh man, yeah. I will get to your questions very shortly. I see Frank has a few, of course, Robert as well, and then we have some coming in from YouTube as well. So let's go ahead and hop on to our last topic of conversation for the news, which is James Robinson. Dare Ogunbowale is in. We also have Raquel Armstead, who was signed to the active roster, I believe, last week. He didn't actually play. Oh my God, the guy that completely disappeared.
Incredible.
Where'd he go? Where did he go?
Well, he ended up on the job. Well, he was on the COVID list for an eternity. I mean, he obviously had a really serious case. Yeah. And then he ended up on the Giants. And now he ended up back on the Jaguars practice squad. And
I never knew
he'll probably be the starting running back for the Jaguars this week in a game that they might score even a single point.
So he had the if you remember when COVID first hit, one of the reasons they talked about why it would affect football players is because of mitochondria, something swelling around the heart. And he was one of the players that actually got hit with that. One of the few, thankfully. And he was basically just done. So that's kind of awesome that he's back. I mean, as much as everyone's playing Dare, I hope Raquel Armstead gets a chance to just rip a couple off next week or this week, because that would just be kind of cool.
Great.
I would love to see it. Speaking of this game, by the way, I have a difficult decision to make. I'm in a dynasty league that I care very much about. I don't know if you guys know Tom_Lee92 on Twitter, co-host of our fantasy walkabout. I'm facing him in a rematch of last year's finals in this league where I met him and where I met Billy, actually.
Oh.
And Trevor Lawrence is my QB2. And I'm considering starting a running back or receiver in the Superflex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do that. Do that.
Like would you start Trevor Lawrence in or AJ Dillon in 6-point passing touchdowns? Not that Lawrence would ever throw a passing touchdown.
I mean, like that should be like your brain's like, oh, that's a smash, right, Lawrence? But he has to actually throw a touchdown.
I'm concerned about negative
not up
points
against
this week.
New England, yeah. Not
like
up against New England.
I'm concerned that he has negative points.
I am. Yeah, I'm good. I wish I could go with someone else other than AJ Dillon, but I like AJ Dillon better than I do.
Yeah,
Trevor
well,
Lawrence.
I'd like to also go with Christian McCaffrey in that league, but unfortunately, he's no longer available.
All right, let's hop into one of these questions because I mean Jacob just stole the entire stream and inserted his question.
Well, I can't use my own show to get my own questions answered by you wise men.
Oh my God! All right, Frank asks MVS or AJ Green. Injuries killed me, of course. Yes, they did. I'm actually fading. We talked about this on last night's show. I'm fading AJ Green hard up against Trayvon Diggs. I think Trayvon Diggs should be facing AJ Green for the majority of the game. I don't see Trayvon Diggs covering Christian Kirk in the slot. I got to fade AJ Green. I'm going MVS. I don't really care what the matchup is unless MVS was up against Trayvon Diggs as well, but obviously that's impossible. So I'm fading AJ Green.
I have a take I know Chase will love and Shane will hate. Like it's going to be very cold. They're projecting it to just be 4 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff in this game. And so if we get a little bit of ice, right, collecting a little bit of frost on the field, going to be hard for defensive backs to keep their footing. I could see MVS taking advantage of a defensive back with a double move on this frosty Lambeau field, and all of a sudden you get your long touchdown.
We saw it from DK Metcalf. On the first drive.
So if DK can score a touchdown, anybody can.
Dude, MVS definitely can. That's no problem. No, we literally saw the same exact thing that you're describing happen on the first drive of the Seahawks game this past weekend, and it actually happens on a regular basis. We saw it with Stephon Diggs last year for the Bills, where he worked double moves up the sidelines, and MVS is in a perfect opportunity to get you 1 or 2 touchdowns.
2 or 3 touchdowns. Wow.
1 or 2 touchdowns in this game.
Your start of the weekend.
Where we've seen it hit. I'm not saying that he will get you 2 to 3 touchdowns, but he could. No, 1 to 2 touchdowns, I think, is in the realm of possibilities for MVS in this matchup.
Shane, do you like our weather field texture take?
No. I love it. But I mean, we do know it's easier to run on offense on snow and ice than it is on defense since you're backpedaling.
That's why the play action fake on the double move is going to work excellently because AJ Dillon is going to have 4 touchdowns and then MVS is going to have 3.
My only concern with MVS is he's coming back off COVID. I don't know if he actually had it.
We'll never know.
We've seen people come back from that COVID and just basically seen their snaps halved because it's a breathing not disorder, but it affects your respiratory system. That said, AJ Green shit all over me last week with 1 catch for 33 yards. So yeah, I'll go with MVS. At least he's got the big play upside. And unless something happens, Diggs isn't going to be covering him unless the Cowboys get the trade deadline revoked to trade him to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers so they can win a Super Bowl. But that's a lot of things got to happen.
All right, we have Chase's top 3 bourbons of 2021. All right, so I'm gonna switch this up a little bit because I like bourbon a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more of I'm starting to get more into ryes and whatnot, and I've been dabbling with some different rums and everything like that. It's just bourbon. You can only do so much with bourbon because they limit your what you can do to build bourbon. So you get a lot of similar flavors across the board. So I'm going to include ryes in this. But my top 3 bourbons of 2021, number 3 is going to be McKenna 10-year. It won Bourbon of the Year back in 2019, I believe. Not too hot, but also adds, a decent amount of flavor from the heat. It's bottle and bond at 100 proof. That's number 3. Number 2 is going to be, I just had it the other night, Wild Turkey Rye. The Wild Turkey Rye from 2021 was absolutely delicious, and it tastes similar. Or I'm sorry, Rare Breed, not Wild Turkey. Rare Breed, which is coming from the distillery with Wild Turkey. Anyways, Rare Breed Rye. It has a finish of key lime pie, and it's the strangest thing I've ever had. You'll never get a key lime pie finish from anything, especially rye, and it gives you the weirdest finish in the entire world. My number 1 on this year is Angel's MV Rye. And I actually want to get a taste of the Portobello finish, but I haven't been able to. But the Angel's Envy Rye is delicious. We had, what was it, like buttery caramel popcorn in 2020. I'm getting a little bit more of like an apple with caramel like flavor from this one. So absolutely delicious. Anyways, I can tell Shane is already completely checked out. So before we lose him.
I was just doing some taxes. It's good.
You pay taxes?
Well, yeah.
Before we lose him completely, let's answer Frank's question. Bad weather expected in Buffalo. Are we worried about the skill players and Bass? I mean, I would be worried about Bass, period, like at this time of year in Buffalo. He's still very, very good. He can still, net you those points. But I'm concerned this time of year, regardless of what the weather reports say, because the weather can change so viciously up in Buffalo. We've seen it time and time again towards this time of the year. And I believe Josh Allen sees an increase in fourth down opportunities in the month of December compared to any other month. So with that being said, I'm always concerned about Bass. But the skill position players, I'm not as worried about. I think we're going to see a ton of attempts. I'm not concerned about Devin Singletary's snap percentage or his rushing ability or, his carry amount. I'm not concerned about any of that. I think that you're still going to see the touches necessary. Where I get concerned is going out and grabbing Isaiah McKenzie while you're still likely to see, Gabriel Davis possibly Emmanuel Sanders.
Davis and Beasley both got activated today. So,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go and get too risky with some of these, tertiary pieces or, anything. Like, don't get too cute, essentially. Just play the guys that are going to go off, but don't go playing these back-end options.
I'm not too worried. Check the win, though. That's the thing, ultimately. I think what we've seen over the years, and Chris Allen, of course, one of the best weather analysts out there in the fantasy space, always check his piece out. What we've seen is that snow doesn't really hurt offenses. If anything, it potentially even helps offenses. Rain is not that big of a worry. The only thing that really gets me off of passing games is winds 20 miles per hour or above. If it's just going to be cold, if it's just going to be snowing, I wouldn't worry too much. If you start getting these crazy circling winds you get in Buffalo, maybe you're a little concerned. But Atlanta sucks. The Bills are going to put up 30-plus points in this game. I think there's going to be enough to go around. I'm not too worried. The only issue, is just trying to figure out what they're going to do with the non-Diggs and non-Knox receiving options. It's a bit of a mess. Davis looks so good in Sanders' absence, but now he's coming off the COVID list. McKenzie had the big game last week, but Beasley's coming back to the slot. Sanders played last week, but he didn't get any targets. Like, I find it really difficult to say, which of those four guys is actually going to do anything. I'm sure one of them will. I just don't know who. But Diggs, Knox, Singletary, Allen, I'm starting all those guys.
Shane?
I mean, what you guys said. Diggs, Allen, fine. Outside of that, I probably don't want to be starting too many Buffalo players except for Devin Singletary. Anyway, so, whatever. And kicker, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a kicker. I don't want to play any of them. And if it's a bad weather game, I'm probably going to stay away from a kicker in that game, yes.
All right, so I see
Frank. Buffalo defense against Matt Ryan in the cold.
Frank and Robert and a few others still have some questions coming in. We will get to those, but I do want to keep the show moving. And let's hop on to the main segment of our show where we discuss quarterbacks and tight ends.
This is the main segment of our show? We need to rework this show next year, but we'll talk about that.
Main segment was making fun of Chase.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But the only reason as to why Shane wants to change it is because Jakob is beating him by like 15 points.
Well, no, because
19
and two less shows.
Obviously, if I cared, I'd put a little more work into it, but I truly don't. And I just want to put something out that I care about, and this ain't it.
Oh,
not
my
this whole
God.
show, just this.
All right, so
we're so lucky to have you with us here.
I mean, it's just because you're dynasty, Shane. Jeez.
Shane mailing it up over here.
I know. He's not giving you guys good advice, obviously. He did 2 weeks ago, but obviously he doesn't care about it as a whole. All right, so...
It's good though, because whoever Shane says to play, you can just cross them off.
Yeah, I would not put a lot of weight into what I say on these start-sit decisions.
You know what the crazy part is like this is the part that like people actually can take like home with them and apply like to their actual rosters. I mean, out of all the nonsense that we have, this is like the most actionable advice.
I disagree.
What do you think is the most actual? Us talking about Lions players betting the spread?
If you're listening to the podcast, you would have seen me give Shane a look.
Also, I mean, we're giving out advice on start sits on a Wednesday for, a lot happens between now and Sunday.
You're really pumping up the value of the show, Shane. And the last 2 minutes, you said that you don't care about the advice that you give.
I think.
And then you said that this show's really just not that useful anyhow.
No, I think you guys give good. So here's the thing. You guys give excellent start sit advice. I give general strategy and trade advice. That's my thing.
Trade alert.
I don't care about this part of it.
It's championship week, Shane.
Oh,
There's
I care.
not too many questions.
Play your best players. Play your studs.
All right.
Start your studs Twitter.
All right. So we're going to pick quarterbacks outside the top 15, tight ends outside the top 15 that have a chance of finishing inside the top 12.
Here, let me go first so I can get this out of the way. Quarterback.
We're also going to pick running backs and wide receivers outside the top 20 that have a chance to finish inside the top 12 as well. So I have a feeling that Shane actually isn't ready. He's just going to run his finger across, a line of quarterbacks and just, close his eyes. Pick one. So I'm going to start out with Justin Fields.
Why don't the rankings come up?
There we
go.
The Giants aren't allowing a ton of yards to quarterbacks because quarterbacks haven't had to pass.
Well, because the Giants are usually down 21-0.
The Giants have been so bad this year. Check this out.
Relegate them. They need to go to a different league.
Did you guys know they have 6 touchdowns over the past 6 games? 6 touchdowns over the past 6 games. I don't know if that's happened in NFL history. I got to look that up because it's crazy. I mean, they're still allowing quarterbacks to be efficient, right? If we even include the Jalen Hurts game, which was abysmal, it was terrible. It was like he's like 14 for 31, 3 interceptions. If we include that game into this 6-game sample size, quarterbacks are still completing 66.4% of their passes up against the Giants. They also have 10 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in that span. If we just take the last 4 games, right, we kick out those 2, or we kick out that one that he didn't play and then the one before that, quarterbacks are completing 71.5% of their passes up against the Giants with 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Giants are terrible. Justin Fields is the guy to run out this week. He's going to finish as a top 5 quarterback. If Justin Fields is on your waivers, pick him up, play him this week, feel confident. He's a lock for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nice floor against Little Blue, who is running a quarterback committee, by the way, of Mike Glenn and Jake Fromm. So I don't know if you're planning on streaming Mike Glenn.
What's funny is I thought the Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, PJ
that one's
Walker.
Over, by the way. We're rolling with Darnold now.
I thought that was the saddest quarterback committee of all time, but no, Jake Fromm, Mike Glenn definitely takes it. I'm just
play Tony at quarterback. At least that'd be fun.
I'm going.
That would be fun.
Let's see who we got here. We got QB. Oh, I'm going with the boy, Davis Mills. He's playing San Francisco. They give up points to other people, quarterbacks. The Binky's back, so it should be a big week for Mr. Mills.
You want to elaborate on who the Binky is, since maybe not everybody knows, Shane?
Binky. Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is Davis Mills' Binky.
Brandon the Binky Cooks.
Yeah, Brandon Binky Cooks.
Is he officially back, by the way?
He was activated off the
was he activated
list? Yeah.
Man, I got all my dudes back. Look, I'm pumping my own bags here, but Poppy 2 final chasing down 100K. Wow, dude, are you even in the NFT discords? Like you don't even know what pumping my bags means? Come on, Chase.
Oh God,
stop being so old.
Shane, do you know?
I'm old. I admit it.
No, Shane's the stone boomer.
Wait, real quick. I go in the bedroom the other day, right? My bedroom.
Going into the bedroom.
The last time we talked about your kid's bedroom, it ended terribly.
So I go, Ruku, turn on the the YouTube TV.
Hey, who's Ruku?
Ruku,
Is your
Alexa.
kid in Ruku?
Alexa, turn on the Ruku TV. And my son goes, I'm not a boomer. Why are you putting YouTube TV on? And I was like, damn. Cold-blooded.
Yeah, okay, boomer by your son.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
God.
Anyway, point is, I wanted to make sure Cooks is back because I'm getting all of my COVID boys back on my Poppy 2 finals team. Darnold, one of my 2 quarterbacks, he's set to start now. So that lets my DJ Moore stack hopefully have a little bit of life in it because Darnold sucks, but all he does is throw to Moore. And we got Cooks. We got the Bees. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is one 1 touchdown in 8 games. It is really sad what's happening in Jacksonville. Anyway, my quarterback is not Trevor Lawrence, that's for sure. It's also not Sam Darnold. It's also not Jake Fromm. My quarterback this week, I'm going off the board. I'm going with a guy who's not even listed on the ESPN site because he's not projected to start. That's how bad quarterback is this week. I'm taking Tyler Huntley. There was a video of Lamar Jackson walking around like a geriatric 88-year-old man on a practice field, and that dude does not look like someone who is going to be starting a football game anytime soon. So I'm not buying that Lamar is going to be playing this week. I would be selling that. And yes, ball is life. Palindrome is wishing me and Larky luck. Yeah. We got a dynasty draft we're gonna be doing live soon. Anyway, thank you. I am taking Tyler Huntley. He runs a lot. He throws to Mark Andrews over and over and over again. And I'm a fan of that for fantasy. And I don't think Lamar's going to play this week. He looks like he's a ways off.
His ankle does not look good.
That was a horrible video that I wish I never saw, to be honest. He looks like he's not ready for he looks like he's not going to be ready for weeks, not even for the playoffs maybe. I mean,
he was getting married. I wouldn't say he was ready to slow dance.
True. It was bad.
Well, they're not going to have the playoffs to worry about if they lose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're not going to make the playoffs anyway, so he's going to get plenty of rest before week 1 of 2022 season.
Very true. All right, so let's hop on to Frank's question. Foster, with Waller probably out. Waller is out. Or Gesicki. I love this situation for Foster Moreau with, COVID and everything running rampant, although COVID should allow the new rules should allow Indianapolis to get back.
Which is great because our entire team is unvaccinated.
Yeah, it's crazy. What are the Colts like? What are they doing over there, man? The entire team.
Praying.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Jesus cures COVID.
We're a very Christian team.
Frank Reich and Carson Wentz, they're fine. Jesus got them. They're good.
So, I mean, I love Foster Moreau in this matchup regardless. I mean, you're not going to have a bunch of weapons running all over the field for the Raiders. I mean, Zay Jones, when he's the leading target getter from last week outside of Foster Moreau, I mean, that's not great. Meanwhile, the Colts are brutal up against the tight end position. I don't understand what they're doing over there. Foster Moreau, for me, is an absolute lock over Gesicki. I don't hate Gesicki this week, but I think Foster Moreau could finish as a top 10 tight end pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, the Titans are one of the worst matchups for tight ends. They have Kevin Byard, who will be locking up Mike Gesicki for most of this week, I think. And then, the Colts, I mean, it's by design. The Colts' entire scheme, it's cover 2 based. Our corners don't really play all that well on the outside, so they get a lot of safety help. They're playing nothing but backup safeties anyways. And potentially no Leonard, potentially no Kari Willis this week. We'll see if they get cleared. So we give it up to the tight end. If anybody watched the Arizona game, I mean, Zach Ertz was open every single play. Kyler was just tossing these little 5-yard passes to Zach Ertz. And the Colts are fine with that. That's all part of their scheme. So I think Foster Moreau is going to see 8-9 targets this week.
Yeah. I agree with you folks. Gesicki's target share has been a little troubling after he had that really good start.
Well, I think with Parker back, not that affected him on Monday because I found out Parker played only because people told me he did. Certainly not by looking at the stat line. But it does seem like, it seems like early in the year it was just him and Waddle, and since then Parker's had some games. And in this last game, it certainly wasn't Parker, but Waddle's certainly getting his. But
the Matt Collins tight end breakout in season 9.
Is Matt Collins a tight end now? I thought he was a wide receiver.
He might be
kind of. He plays like a second role.
Yeah, I think he's designated as a wide receiver, but that dude is a tight end.
Dude, he is so big. He looks so big on that one big reception he had down the field.
I think it's Gesicki.
Yeah.
Dude, he is so big. All right. Let's go ahead and answer a question real quick. It's a long one. I want to ask y'all, I'm a little worried about Aaron Jones because he hasn't been that explosive lately. I'm going against Mixon and Taylor. I need Najee to go off.
Well, if you want explosion, I always say Najee Harris is your guy.
Stop. Do you guys think Jones? Jacob, I swear to God. Do you guys think Jones against the Vikings is a good matchup? I actually have A.J. Dillon in this one. I think it's a phenomenal matchup for A.J. Dillon. Last time they faced off, he took, first off.
Last time they faced off, Jones didn't play.
So that helped.
Yes, that's true. But he also took 6 receptions for 48 yards, I believe, 8 yards per reception, somewhere along those lines. But A.J. Dillon has a lot of weight on him. right? So Aaron Jones does not. So when it comes to like, playing in these snow games, like you actually want players who can weigh themselves into the turf and use their cleats to be able to propel them forward. And Aaron Jones is going to be pretty much ice skating at this point.
No idea
so AJ Dillon is the guy that's
Is this an actual take?
No idea what's happening. Look, if I'm looking for upside,
you're saying that AJ Dillon will work because his
snowshoes.
His big snowshoes will allow him to travel through the tundra.
It's traction. It's science, guys. It's science.
I'm not stoked about Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones is seeing more rushing work than AJ Dillon over the past 2 weeks, and he's seeing more targets. So it's the Packers. The last 2 weeks have nothing to do with what'll happen this week. But if I'm looking for a trend, that's it. So I guess I'm cautiously optimistic for Aaron Jones, also because he's lighter, so on the snow he glides better.
No, he's gonna slip. It's gonna be like ice skating without ice skates, bro.
It's ridiculous. Like I don't really understand how we're here, but it seems like somehow, in the last week of 2021, people have somehow forgotten that Aaron Jones is both a really good football player and an extremely erratic fantasy asset because his coach chooses to use him or not use him seemingly on a whim at all times. So, yeah, I mean, like if you play Aaron Jones in an island game, which this is, in the last game of the week, probably with your championship coming down to it, I mean, you're asking for pain. You're asking for emotional distress. But certainly, I think that Aaron Jones has the ceiling that he always has. I mean, the thing about Aaron Jones is the way that he gets used in the receiving game is unlike any other running back, even more than Kamara. I mean, he gets high A-dot targets. He runs wheel routes. He runs routes as an H-back. He runs routes as a wide receiver. He's essentially the wide receiver 2 on the Green Bay Packers behind Devontae Adams. So because of that, it gives him a very high fantasy ceiling. It also means that he's very erratic because he actually is like almost like a high A-dot running back in that respect. And so you're going to have more of these bust weeks, but you're also gonna have boom weeks. I like Jones this matchup, but it's sketchy. You never know.
Yeah, I will say this: like at least Aaron Jones, if he goes to do like a stop move right, like it's gonna completely jerk the defenders off because he's not gonna be able to stop. He's just gonna keep sliding amongst the ice.
No more ice takes. Just go away.
All right, let's go ahead and head over to running back because this is a great segue. I'm going with AJ Dillon because the last time they faced each other, like I brought up, he has 6 balls for 44 yards. That's what it was. Minnesota allows a 6.16 dump-off containment efficiency score. You guys can find that over there at fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. That's 28th overall ranked. They haven't played very many pass-catching running backs, and it's kind of crazy because anytime they do play a pass-catching running back that scores above a 1.3 rating, which you guys will see in the 2022 model, because I have it, I just haven't showed it, they skip 10-plus fantasy points. So if they play a good pass-catching running back, they end up performing. A.J. Dillon has a 1.3 rating along with Aaron Jones. However, A.J. Dillon is so much more efficient with his touches. A.J. Dillon's averaging 3 receptions per game in games that he runs 10 or more routes. Aaron Jones is averaging 4.2. However, A.J. Dillon is averaging almost as many receptions. I'm sorry, I believe I said receptions for last one. It was targets. They're still averaging about the same amount of receptions. And A.J. Dillon is giving you about 5.6 more yards per reception. So, I mean, if you take away the game where Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns up against the Detroit Lions in like week 2 or 3, whatever it was, like A.J. Dillon would be significantly better in the receiving game, and it's not even relatively close. But because of those touchdowns, they're somewhat even. A.J. Dillon is still the dynamic player here. He's going to get the touches. He's going to see the work in the receiving game, and since he is heavier, he's going to be more efficient in the running game because he's going to get weighted into the turf more, and it's going to allow him to perform his cuts.
I can't. Are you going to start talking about BMI shortly? I didn't think we were in BMI season yet, but apparently we are. We're back to BMI.
We'll get there.
So with his BMI and his neck thickness, his neck thickness, players are going to try and tackle him up high, and if they do that, they're going to slip right off because there could be icicles and stuff around his neck.
Oh, Jesus.
So unless it's a bigger, defensive like a linebacker, maybe a defensive end, they're really not going to be able to grip, very well on his upper body because he's been covered in ice. He's just going to run right past him.
I think that the issue will be is what if the temperature starts to rise slightly throughout the day, and then the snowman starts to melt? How will people be able to tackle him? Because there's going to be this large snowman running down the field, and every time a hand touches him, a little bit of him is going to melt, and then they're not going to be able to grab anything that wasn't there anymore.
So then he's going to end up turning into Aaron Jones?
Yeah, exactly. And then by the end, that's how it's going to work. Aaron Jones is going to get subbed in at the goal line.
They're both stick men at that point. So
I'm tired of talking about this. So Rudy Corral asks for my
whoa. No, you're picking up running back, bro.
No, you can. Let's. All right.
We got to finish off the running back segment because I picked AJ Dillon.
I'm picking Damian Harris.
You can't be outside the top 20. There's no chance.
22.
What?
I don't know. He smashed last week and the week before that when he didn't play. Ramondre Stevenson did one of his favorite things, which is fumble the football. I'm hoping Belichick remembers that, so that's how I'm gonna go with Dame.
I would have gone with Dame, but I wanted to talk about the dose score, so I picked AJ.
I got you.
Yeah, and Damian Harris will never get a target in his entire life, so you can't really use the dose score for him.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with whoever I put on the sheet, which I can't remember. Oh, here we go. Now I remember. Michael Carter. Michael Carter is another dose score pick. This is the dose score game. Both these teams give up tons of points to pass catching running backs. It makes me cry a little bit that Giovanni Bernard went on IR and that I couldn't use Gio against the Jets in a Fournette-less game. That would just warm my heart in this spot. But
that's a league winner if I ever seen one. That's a league winner.
That's a league winner.
But
I'm going to go to the other side of this game, and I'm going to play because I don't want to play the Rojo, Keyshawn Vaughn, Le'Veon Bell roulette game, and I'll just play Michael Carter, who came back and he saw his usual workhorse role last week. They've fully excommunicated Austin Walter from the Church of the New York Jets. Ty Johnson was active last week, didn't play a snap. Tevin Coleman is Tevin Coleman. And against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, the last thing you want to do is ram Tevin Coleman up the middle. So I think Michael Carter could clear 70-80% of snaps this week. I'm expecting him to see 7-8 catches in what will be an aggressively negative game script against the defending Super Bowl champions. So give me Michael Carter this week. I think he's a nice bet for 15-plus PPR points.
You know what? I'm going to do this next year. Obviously, we're at the last game of the season, but next year I'm going to take people who are in the chat, and I'm actually going to apply their scores and see if they can beat us.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
they could definitely be Shane.
I mean, so Husker has a reason to come every week, so that way he can, he can compete against us and see who can win.
Penny is probably in the top 20, but I give it to him. Man, how crazy of a world is it could be that Rashad Penny is the league winner?
In 2017,
that's a league winner if I ever saw one.
When we were drafting him, this is exactly what we thought he would be.
A league winner.
I put out this tweet earlier, but Saquon Barkley is probably the 5th running back in his own class that you're most likely to start this week.
That was great.
Because you'd rather start Penny, you'd rather start Sony Michel, and you'd rather start Ronald Jones, and of course Nick Chubb. So I think Barkley's number 5 in his own class this week.
All right, so we have part 2 of this question, and I'm going to pull it down as soon as we actually ask it because Shane looks like he's drowning in comments right now.
He needs a defense. Yeah,
he needs a defense. I have the Chiefs, Colts, and Bears.
Defense takes.
Which one would you guys roll with? Thanks for the show and all the help, of course, Robert. Man, thanks for coming and tuning in. Make sure you tune in for the rest of the season. We have some interesting topics that I can't wait to discuss. All right, I don't like the Bears.
I like the Bears.
Oh, you like the Bears in this matchup?
Yeah, because of Jake Fromm and Mike Lennon.
Yeah, I actually kind of do like the Bears.
I mean, how hard can it be to get 10 DST points against those Giants quarterbacks?
Not hard. Easy. Easy.
Is Saquon Barkley playing though?
He's gonna play, but he's gonna do what he's done the last month. It's just not the long.
He looked like he was giving up in the last game. He looked like
he's given up in the last 3 years. Let's be honest. He hasn't looked good since his rookie.
Out of his body. I mean, he's out here.
I'm not playing the Chiefs. I'm not playing the Colts. So I guess that leaves me with the Bears. But I think there's plenty of other great options on the slate this week that nobody's really talking about. That might be left on the waivers. So, Robert, if you have your waivers up, give us the top 5 defenses that you have on your waivers right now, and let's see if we pick one of those over the Bears.
I can't imagine picking many teams over the Bears, just with the Glennon situation.
Well, let's just see,
right,
because I mean the Bears haven't been good on defense. Like they've been actually brutal. They're not the same Bears.
Yeah,
we've
of
seen.
course they're shitty on defense, but I mean,
hey Joshua, Taysom Hill or Justin Herbert. I refuse to lose with Justin Herbert on my bench, and it's not like Justin Herbert's been bad. So although Taysom Hill, look, he produces when he's on the field for fantasy, but I'm going Justin Herbert.
I will go Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. I don't like that matchup with Carolina. All right, we have in Dynasty. Do you have to hold J-Rob at this point?
You don't have to do anything.
Well, do whatever you want.
Yeah, stop it. All right, no, we have a.
You have to think about
here.
how he'll be able to plant his feet in the snow without an Achilles.
No, because it'll be summertime. But
put him on the IR. I mean, based off of what we saw from Cam Akers, he'll be back probably the middle of the summer, practicing in full and ready to go week 1. But no, throw him on your IR. I'm not getting rid of him. Look, I know the Achilles is apparently a death blow, or it was until Cam Akers destroyed it.
Well, he hasn't destroyed it yet.
Well, apparently he has. He looks great. He's going to be on the field tomorrow, Sunday, whatever day they play. So, no, if you got the IR spot, you hold on to J-Rob.
Yeah, I think it depends. I'm seeing Keep Trade Cut right now has some worth about an early second. I think that's pretty fair.
No one's giving you an early second for J-Rob. No.
Well, if you can get an early second, then I'm okay with you stealing. But I don't think you have to hold. I think if you can get an early second, I would take that. But
what if I threw you 2 mid-thirds?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like I think that there's a lot of outs here. So Cam Akers could not play at all. And it's easily explainable because, Sony Michel's been rolling and he just got worked back in, whatever. Just the reality that he's even going to be activated, I think, has already given quite a lot of optimism based on the Achilles situation. I mean, Travis Etienne is dealing with his own very serious injury. Jay Robinson very good this year. I think it's pretty easy if all of a sudden we roll around to OTAs and we're getting videos of James Robinson practicing again and all is well. I mean, I could see it at least getting back to that early second range at that point. So I wouldn't sell for pennies on the dollar now. I wouldn't even sell for Rashad pennies on the dollar.
Let me throw into the ring.
No laughs.
Foreman. It was all right. That was okay.
Yeah, but Foreman is like 4 years later.
Foreman later. It did take 4 years. Marlon Mack came back from the Achilles, and I haven't seen him in a month and a half, but
which is good.
He looked okay before that. Whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, no, you hold him unless it's FFPC. I understand, and you got to get down to like 16. But
well, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen Cam Akers come back yet, right? And Deontay Foreman was given the same exact reports when he came back that he was looking great. Marlon Mack was given the same exact reports that he was looking great. Neither one immediately were able to give you a return. So maybe you're a rebuilding team. Maybe a contender is offering you a mid, second round pick, late second round pick. Like, where is the
mid second? I'll take a mid second, late second gets into the dart throw territory.
Yeah, to me, it's got to be an early second, even a mid second. I'll hold.
Yeah, I would take a late second personally. All right, we have the Dallas D, and then we're going to get onto the wide receiver position. We rolling with Dallas D this week up against the Cards, or picking up the Bears up against the G-Men.
I want the Bears.
Well, there's a couple things. Who says that the Cardinals' offense isn't lesser competition? Because they are.
That was what I was going to bring
totally
up.
Uninspired.
Kingsbury kicks field goals on third down with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, very uninspired football from them lately. It's hard. Look, Dallas D, I'm assuming that counts their special teams. It's just scoring touchdowns this year. It's getting turnovers. Like I'm playing. I want the team that I think is going to get some turnovers. There's always a chance that the Bears could just hand the ball off to David Montgomery 36 times. Which
I think that's a high chance.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, the G-Men. There is always a chance that Barkley could get 20 carries for 40 yards, when Devontae Booker could get 15 for 60, and we look at Devontae Booker and go, remember when Saquon Barkley was more explosive than Devontae Booker? But I'm going to go with Dallas's D because I like the upside with the turnovers and outside chance for the touchdown.
I'll take that situation. I don't know where the turnovers are going to come from the Cardinals.
We should add defensive streamers to our show next year.
All right.
Shane, I'm sure, would love that. And kickers.
Please add kickers.
Shane would be fine with defensive streamers as long as it's not IDP.
Yeah.
IDP doesn't exist.
I don't do IDP.
Yeah, IDP is not good. So what are we up to? Wide receivers?
Wide receivers.
We want to do wide receivers or we want to keep answering these questions? I got but I want to defend Kyle Pitts' third round ADP on Underdog. I see this one from Ball's Life.
Hold on, we'll get there.
We're gonna get there. All right.
Let's go to the wide receivers because
I
don't have much to say.
I'm trying to answer your questions.
Yeah, we're getting there. All right. We have Amari Cooper up against the Cardinals. I talked about it on last night's DFS show. You have, a situation where Byron Murphy is probably going to play in the slot because Dallas plays like 80% of their snaps in 3 wide receiver sets. So Byron Murphy will be able to play the slot. That's going to shut down CeeDee Lamb to an extent. I'm not expecting CeeDee Lamb to have like no points, but he's going to be limited with his points. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals are 5th in explosive pass plays allowed. So Michael Gallup is going to get shut down to an extent. Amari Cooper is going to be tearing up those 10 to 15-yard routes all game long up against backup cornerbacks. Robert Alford isn't back. And even if he was, I would still take
he sucks.
Because, he sucks. But he's going up against guys that are alternating, just like the quarterbacks based off of, I don't even know what. Amari Cooper is going to crush. I can't believe he's outside of the top 20 this week.
Okay.
What the hell is it?
Yeah, let's have some enthusiasm, buddy. Come on, it's championship week.
I'm going back to my boy Darnell Mooney. Just volume. I'm just going to keep following volume.
Yeah, but A-Rod's back this week. Although he's 10 pounds lighter, so I hope it doesn't snow.
Did he have COVID or diarrhea? Jesus. Yeah, I'm taking Darnell Mooney. Just because of volume. Simple. Let's keep moving. Jacob.
Yeah, it's A-Rod versus Saquon.
Shane's got a hot take tonight.
Who did I pick at wide receiver? What does it say on the thing?
You didn't put one in.
Yeah, I did put one in.
Odell
Beckham Jr. That's what I picked, and I knew it all along. I totally didn't have to check the sheet. Odell Beckham faces the Ravens. The Ravens secondary is complete trash. They're playing a bunch of backups. Yeah. They just got thrown for 525 yards by Joe Burrow. And I think that Matt Stafford, even though he also might be washed somehow in the middle of the season, is going to be able to get a few explosive pass plays this week against the Ravens. So I like every Ravens receiver, Rams receiver, obviously Kupp, but also Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham. And I love what they're doing with OBJ in the red zone. They're basically just putting them up on these ISO routes. We talked about this on the DFS show. He's getting these one-on-one opportunities in the red zone to get open versus man coverage. He's winning those routes because he's always won those routes because he's good and Baker Mayfield sucks. And he's going to get another touchdown this week against the Ravens.
All right. Let's hop on to the next question. Where are we?
Tight end.
No, the question.
Okay.
We have Rudy coming in.
Receivers.
He says 4 is 2 receivers. Brown. 1 is Kupp. The other one is Antonio Brown. Yeah. DK, Amon-Ra. Which one?
In the same game, too.
Also, for flex, I got Damien Harris. So he can also take out Damien Harris if we like DK, Amon-Ra. But I think Damien Harris is locked this week. He was somebody that I wanted to pick, but I wanted to talk about the Doe score first. I think Antonio Brown's a lock.
Yeah. AB and Kupp are locked. It comes down to DK or the Sun God to me.
It's those 3 or Damien Harris in the flex.
Yeah, how do you know?
No, he has 2 receivers that are locked in. It's Kupp and Brown.
I gotta be honest with you. I'll go Amon over Damien Harris, and I love Damien Harris.
I'll just go DK over all of them because I'm going to keep the faith.
Up against Detroit, that's actually not a bad pick.
Yeah, I'm a little bit out on Amon-Ra because I think that his flight has coincided with DeAndre Swift not being in the lineup. And they really just stopped throwing a running back so much when Swift left, and it sounds like Swift's playing this week. So I'm going to say that Swift is a smash play, but that Amon-Ra still going to be good. But I don't know that he's going to see like 11, 12 targets he's been seeing. And that's kind of what you need to see in the Lions offense to actually have upside. So I'd go with DK.
Over Damien Harris.
Yeah,
up against Jackson.
I hate Damien Harris's role so much because he only plays like half the snaps. And if Ramondre's back, he probably plays like 35% of the snaps. But he could easily get 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. Exactly. He's played over half the snaps 3 times. Like I absolutely hate everything about his role. He doesn't play snaps. He doesn't get targets. But he plays Jacksonville. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go with DK, but I could regret that.
All right, so he's taking 3 receivers. I'm still going to play Damien Harris, Antonio Brown, and Kupp, and I think Shane is on the same page as I am. Oh, no, you're going Amon-Ra over Damien Harris, right, Shane?
Yes, Sun God.
All right. So let's go to our tight ends, and then we'll answer all the rest of the questions.
I want to say mine and be done with it. Gerald Everett.
Great. Is he not on the top 15?
19. He's 19.
Oh, okay. Well, when are the people going to wake up that Gerald Everett is the new DK Metcalf in that offense? You guys laugh, but it's true.
Those are laughed. There's like that laughing, not the cry thing. Yeah, that's what that was.
And actually, the thing is about 5 weeks ago, they said back when DK and Lockett were still the top two, they were like, what our offense is missing is we need to get Gerald Everett more involved. And that's the one time that Pete Carroll's ever told the truth, because boy, have they ever gotten Gerald Everett involved.
Oh, and I hated him so much because he's still not like reliable every single week.
He's pretty reliable. He's pretty reliable.
God, I can't.
I've been starting Gerald Everett in a league where I lost Darren Waller every week, and I haven't noticed a difference. So it's really not.
That's true. That's very true. I really want to switch up and go Foster Moreau. I really want to switch up and go Foster Moreau.
Go for it.
But I want to talk about Brevin Jordan. I mean, Brevin Jordan's going to smash this week. Like, just under 20% of his routes run came in week 16. 25% of his routes out of the slot came in week 16. 25% of those. He's literally like showing us everything that we desired in Delaney Walker 2.0. And it's like, it's magical what's happening over there. Davis Mills is playing very well at quarterback. I want to go Brevin Jordan because like he's vicious, and I have him everywhere. I have him in almost every single league, but I also have Foster Moreau in every single league. And now that Darren Waller's out, I got to make this tough decision.
Do you have any good tight ends in these leagues?
No. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Foster Moreau. I have to. Foster Moreau is my pick, not Brevin Jordan.
Okay.
I love Brevin Jordan, though. I love him.
I actually was going to pick Brevin Jordan this week until I saw that Chase had him on the sheet. But now I'm going to not, because I fell in love with my other pick. I talked about him on the DFS show. He's my sleeper this week. This player is playing for a team that, due to COVID issues, has to drastically increase their use of 12 personnel. They ran almost every play out of 12 personnel or 13 personnel in their last game. And they're also missing a lot of receivers, which is continuing to force that in. And now they lost their starting tight end, who's been leading their team in routes for most of the year. And this player has had a 20%, 21%, 25%, and 34% targets per route run in 4 seasons. All he needs is the routes. I think if he sees 70 to 80% of routes this week, we're looking at 5 to 6 targets against a defense that gives up the 4th most points of all NFL teams to the tight end position. I'm going with Mo Alley-Cox, the Gigantor, and hopefully, Carson Wentz will be cleared on Sunday, the day of God, from COVID-19. He'll come in and he's going to toss 2 touchdowns to Mo Alley-Cox this week.
All right, so back to the question, right? These are the defenses that we might pick over the Bears.
Packers. Kirk Cousins in 4-degree weather on Sunday Night Football. My God, do I ever want to fade him?
Yeah, it's the Packers. It's no question.
Did you call him Burt Cousins?
Sure.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds. Kurt Reynolds. All right.
You know, Shane, how you were saying that some guys just are soft? Kirk Cousins.
I just don't want anybody in the passing game outside of MVS in this matchup because obviously,
You don't want Devontae Adams?
Oh, no. Give me A.J. Dillon. He's heavier. No, I honestly like the Packers are going to dominate the Vikings in this matchup. It's not even going to be close. It's going to be an ugly game regardless. It's probably going to be like 20-3. Yes. I'm taking Packers.
Someone asked me this week if they would play KJ Osborne in their fantasy championship.
I got a lot of those questions this week so far.
And I made a pre-written response now that I have for anyone who asked me that question for the rest of the week. And I said that I would rather stab myself in the cornea with a rusted nail than entrust my fantasy season to the second option of Kirk Cousins in 4-degree weather in primetime.
Yeah, I got into it with Daddy's Home, right? At Daddy's Home FF with Mike. Not with him, but Osborne. Against somebody else. No, it was against something like completely different. But it's kind of crazy how teams are willing to roll people out that are so risky, like a Dare Ungwale. Like I could not imagine myself rolling him out up against the Patriots, who only have allowed 2 running backs who would finish as a top 30 top 30 running back They've only allowed 2 of those in the past 10 games that he's faced rookie quarterbacks. It makes no sense to me. Like, you don't want to play rookie quarterbacks. You want to play anybody that has a rookie quarterback on that offense.
I can't fathom starting a Jacksonville Jaguar this week.
Bro, it's all about your options. All about your options.
But, I mean, what do you see from the upside, Shane, from Daryl Williams that you would be willing to play
compared to
championship week?
Compared to who?
I mean, how bad can your team be if you're in the championship week?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to be fit. It's 2 very good teams in most cases. The COVID thing is now out the window because nobody has COVID anymore.
No, I would not play him over Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, thanks, Shane.
I mean, again, what's my option? If
Derek Gore, okay. I'll take Derek Gore.
Why would you? What about Derek Gore gives you any hope that he would outperform Dario?
I would rather have Derek Gore too because he plays on the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs will score 4 touchdowns. And I think that the Jaguars will score 0 touchdowns.
Okay, all right. Well,
I mean, it's not even relatively close for me.
Oh, okay.
The upside from Derek Gore is so much more tremendous than
Derek Gore doesn't catch passes, and he's not their goal line back. Daryl Williams.
He might be their goal line back.
Daryl Williams is. When they played earlier this year, it was Williams that was getting the goal line carries. So if you're looking at it, based off that,
concussion.
If he had a concussion.
What if he gets one in the middle? What if he gets Omicron in the middle of the game? What if there's snow?
I don't think that's how it works.
Weighs in light that day.
And Gore outweighs him.
Gore's a fat motherfucker. Yeah, he's going to be weighed down. And Gore is very knowledgeable about climates, right? He wrote An Inconvenient Truth.
He did.
And he invented the internet. So we wouldn't even be podcasting without Derek Gore.
You're right.
All right. And Jacob, after that comment, you have to come in and defend Kyle Pitts' 3rd round ADP on underdog for 2022 draft.
Very easy to do. Kyle Pitts is going to have 1,000 yards receiving in his first year. He's going to be absolutely shattering the best rookie season by a tight end in like 40 years. And basically everything that we've won in receiving yards, the best was Evan Ingram, was like 722 since Mike Ditka. And so Kyle Pitts has done everything that we've wanted him to do except for score touchdowns. And most of that is due to, in part, total luck, and in part, the just general ineffectiveness of Matt Ryan and the Atlanta offense. It can't be worse next year. And frankly, even if it's the exact same, and you just say that, okay, Kyle Pitts is now going to be starting the year as a 21-year-old instead of a 20-year-old, so he's probably going to be a little bit better. And they'll probably have someone else to draw coverage off of him, and he's probably going to have some touchdown regression. Then he's probably going to be a top 3, top 4 tight end, and the upside is there that he go even further. So I think Kyle Pitts is absolutely worthy of however high he's going to go in best ball drafts. I'm going to be all over him at cost. I put out this tweet comparing his rookie season to Mike Evans' rookie season today, which is who I comped him to in the pre-draft process. And the receptions and the targets and the yards are like almost identical. It's just that the touchdowns are 12 for Mike Evans' rookie year and 1 for Kyle Pitts' rookie year. So I think the touchdowns are going to come around. He's going to be just fine.
That's a great comparison. I haven't heard that one, so I appreciate that comparison. All right, let's see. I know that we talked about this earlier, but Rudy brings up that DK Metcalf has been doing him dirty all year. Do you guys have any confidence in DK Metcalf up against the Lions?
He's had far too much sex. Adam Levitan was all over it.
Agreed. All right.
I'm still playing him. I'm still going to play DK.
Robert brings up, I'm rolling out Rodgers, Devontae, and Jones. Don't jinx me.
Well, you better hope that a snowstorm doesn't swallow them all up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think any of them are heavy enough.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers he'll glide all over the field as well.
Oh, actually, I have a take. Aaron Rodgers should benefit this week because he won't need any artificial freezing on his toe. He can just walk outside.
There you go.
Won't be in any pain.
How many pairs of socks do you think he wears this week? All right, that's going to do it for us.
A bunch of ivermectin coated stockings.
I can't. So he's wearing copper fit.
Ball's Life says that we don't like Laquan Treadwell, and that is true.
No one does.
Possibly imagine starting Laquan Treadwell against the New England Patriots this week.
And if you play Dynasty Leagues and you drafted Laquan Treadwell at some point during that rookie draft that he came out, you especially don't like him.
Dude, I was busy drafting Josh Doxson. Get out of here with that noise.
Hey, man, look, we're going to be starting Rashad Penny in this week. The last couple weeks, people have been starting Laquan Treadwell. When are we going to be rolling out?
N'Keal Harry next year.
N'Keal Harry led the Patriots in snaps yesterday.
Yeah. I have him everywhere.
Don't give up hope, man. There's a lot of.
He's going to end up somewhere else next year.
Kerryon Johnson got signed to the Eagles this week.
Yes, he did. Carry on's back.
Again. All right, let everybody know where to find you. We're going to start out with Jacob. What's up, man?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @FF_RTDB. You can find my written work up on Player Profiler. My most recent piece is all about playoff best ball draft strategy, and I'm working on another piece right now on the most galaxy brain strategies for that contest. You can find out why I think drafting Mitchell Trubisky is a good idea in playoff best ball drafts, for instance. And I'll be working on all sorts of crazy strats. That'll be up probably tomorrow or Friday, so make sure to check that out. And you can find me on the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast on Friday, our last regularly scheduled Full Tilt Dynasty podcast this week. And you can find me on Tuesdays, like yesterday with Chase, where we did our first official episode of the Nip.
Yeah, the Nip. We're going to call it the Nip because, you just want a little nip as a bartender. You want a little taste. Just something to give you a little bit of a brief overview for DFS. Just
did you know that in Winnipeg, the Nip is a burger?
What?
Yeah, we have this restaurant called the Salisbury House, and it's a chain of restaurants only in Winnipeg. It's extremely famous in Winnipeg. And they have a hot dog. It's like a whistle dog. Like, you know what a whistle dog is, right? No? It's like a hot dog with the wiener's butterfly. And there's like some cheese sauce down the middle and stuff. And that's called the Winnie. And then we have a burger with fried onions on the grill, and they call that the Nip.
I like.
And you can also get a flapper pie, which is the greatest dessert in the world.
What?
Where it's this like sugary meringue situation, and it's delicious. So if you're ever in the Peg, by the way, which
in the Peg,
yeah,
what you call it, the Peg.
Yeah, Peg City, baby.
That means something completely different in American.
Yeah,
this whole conversation we're talking about pegging and nips.
Here, do you want to guess what the weather is right now in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Fahrenheit? I actually dare you to guess.
Minus 87 degrees.
No, it's got to be hot.
I don't know.
It's like 98 degrees.
No. You think that it's 30 above in Winnipeg right now? Celsius, you think it's 98 degrees?
Yeah, it's like with Nick, whatever his name is. He's absolutely up there, so it's 98 degrees.
No, it's minus 27 degrees Celsius, which is minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit.
No way. That's like where you're at right now. It's
right
minus 17.
It's minus 17 Fahrenheit, which is.
Do you guys leave the house?
Yeah, briefly. Yeah, if it gets a little bit colder, it's actually supposed to get colder overnight. It's going down to minus 31 Celsius, which would be about minus 19 Fahrenheit for the kids at home.
What do you do with like your dogs and stuff to take them outside?
Oh, they die. You just leave them out there and get new.
Do you guys have dogs?
No.
Yeah, we have dogs. We do have dogs. But yeah, you basically like we would cut our dog's hair.
Whoa! I thought you were gonna say something else. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we actually just have dirables. Anyway.
That was great.
No, what we would legitimately do, I had this little dog, and he is dead now, not due to the cold. But I had a little dog named Chipper, who was the best. He was a Shih Tzu poodle, so he was a shit poo. And we had this little shit poo for 18 years, and he was only about 11 pounds. So legitimately, we were very worried that if he had his hair cut, like going into the winter, he would actually just die immediately. So we would like groom him very nicely in the summer, and then we would just let him grow his hair out all winter. And so he'd be very, very shaggy, and he would fluctuate in weight from about 11 pounds to the summer to about 16 pounds in the middle of winter, because he was so small that like his hair just made up about half of his total weight. And so that's what you do up here. But there actually are warnings if you turn on the radio, and you guys are boomers, so you have a radio.
I have an Alexa. Hey, Alexa.
Yeah, turn on my Roku radio. Anyway, if you turn on the radio in the morning on days like this, it will tell you that prolonged exposure to skin, usually about 15 minutes, can risk permanent damage. The coldest that I remember being outside in, I believe, was minus 59 Celsius.
What's that in real temperature?
Yeah, like actual temperature.
Let me check the conversion real quick.
What's that in American?
How many beers do you have over there?
Just one. Just one. So minus 59 Celsius is minus 74 Fahrenheit.
Wow. What?
Yeah, that's a thing that I've actually lived in.
How tiny was your dick at that point? Anyways, Shane,
it
you let us
doesn't
know.
even exist, dude. Like it doesn't even exist. And if you did, like, it gets so cold. This is the best thing about it.
Shane's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
It is so cold sometimes in January where it's like regularly in about the minus 40 to 60 Fahrenheit range, where if you take a glass of water, and I've 100% done this, I'll show you a video of it in the next couple days. It's supposed to get even colder. If you take a glass of water and you open the door and you throw the water into the air, it freezes in midair.
Yeah.
Does the boiling water like evaporate? But that's like a regular thing, I think. Right?
No, well, it wouldn't evaporate. That would be if it was hot.
Boiling water, if you throw it in the air, it turns into mist. Right?
No, I'm just saying, I just take regular tap water and I throw it into the water and it turns to ice.
Shane is so over this show right now. He's like, thank God next week is Dynasty. This shit sucks.
Anyway, you find me at Shane is the worst. Dynasty Trades.
Come to Winnipeg. Come visit.
Dynasty Trades at 5.
January.
DLF. Mannequin Shell, fantasy data, and talking about pegging and nips.
I can't even follow that up. You guys go check out all our content. Hey, Fantasy Football Intervention. Thank you guys.
Keeps you warm in a Winnipeg winter.
Thank you guys for being great. Fantasy football discussion. You guys have been amazing this entire season. Make sure you don't miss us for the off season. We're going to be hitting constantly. And you know what? I kind of want to open up some Dynasty leagues for some of these followers. So stay tuned. We're going to be posting some Dynasty leagues that y'all can hop into. And maybe we'll have a little bit of a tournament or something like that for fantasy football discussion over there on Facebook. We'll see, how many of y'all that are talking shit to each other back there. Because I see what y'all say to each other in the Facebook group. It's ruthless. And if you guys want to prove that you're the better Dynasty player, we will be opening up leagues. I'll be talking to A1 about that over the next couple weeks. Listen, we appreciate you guys for coming in. Make sure you guys go check out the dose score over there at fantasyintervention.com. And make sure you guys go buy a trophy over there at Trophy Smack. Use promo code CIRCLE. Promo code CIRCLE, and you'll get a free $6 ring with it. Make sure the ring and the trophy are in the cart. Go show your dominance. Go, lay a trophy smack down across your opponent's faces after y'all beat them. They have participation trophies. Just peg them. Just peg them with the trophy.
Is that what you call your dick, Chase? Your trophy?
No, I call it way more important things than that.
What do you call it? The nip?
We'll go. I mean, for people that just want a little taste, but
it is a little taste.
Just a little nip. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. This feels like the 2020 version of the One Day Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life.